Right, we're back. Sorry about that. The thing went, because of course it did. We're trying to open the gate, and it's not happening. Damn it, it's not moving. Wait, you're not going to give up just like that? No, I'm not giving up. It's going to be another one of Zero's puzzles.
If it is, then there's got to be a way to open it.
Junpei nodded.
Just what I was thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Oh, yes, I'm on it.
Thus it begins. Junpei, do something, please. See the handrail. Window made of refit glass. I don't even think a bullet could break it. Ethanol. It's used for antisepsis. Oh, it says it's anhydrous ethanol. Anhydrous? Is that different from regular ethanol? Come on, that's common knowledge. Anhydrous ethanol is a powerful cleaner. It can even erase marks left by a permanent marker. These lockers are a little larger than the ones on top. Let's see if there's anything useful in here. And no, nothing. I might just steal lockers. None on the right have little red lights on them. Red lights, huh? Well, I'll have to give these babies a try. Yep, just as I thought. Look tight, all 9 of them. I wonder if there's anything important in there. This is a computer. Stop all the downloading. The power isn't on. Well, there is a power button. This is a waste of time. What? I don't see a power cable. Oh, yeah, you're right. No power cable. This thing isn't even connected to the main computer, though. It's got a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, but that's it. Just sticking the power cable in isn't going to do anything. Oh, I don't know about that. The mouse. The keyboard. There's a keyhole. It's like a keyhole for the activation key. It's supposed to power that machine in the other room. Well, it doesn't appear to be doing that. I wonder how we're supposed to turn it on. It's a really old type of keyboard. And the clocks have stopped moving. Clock may stop, but time goes on. Time to screw around. We need to figure out a way out of here. What this cable's connected to? Okay, one side of this thing is the room with us. The other side extends into the laboratory where Clover is. In other words, the console in front of us is connected to the device in the laboratory. There's 2 levers here. Think they activate something? Well, why don't we move one? Alright, I'll give it a try. Nope, doesn't look like anything's happened. Like the control for some kind of electric lock. The red light is on. It's got to be locked. It's a green light just below it, although the one isn't lit. I bet it'll turn off if we can unlock it, right? Yeah, but how are we going to unlock it? There's no keyhole, no card reader, no keyboard for putting in the password. I have no idea. Towards the exit, the door on the right just seems to go to the laboratory. Nope, this door isn't going to go anywhere. No dice, it won't open. I mean, that's about as much as I expected. I don't think Zero would let us out of this room quite that easily. Hey Clover, there's a door over here too. Wait, I'll be right there. I can hear her over there. Is this door gonna... Damn it. Can't open it. Clover, what about your side? It won't work. I can't even move the knob. It's like the control for an electronic door lock. There's a red light on the display. That means it's locked. If we can get that light to turn green, then maybe we can get Clover back. I think there's a monitor for whatever experiment they were running here. There's a bunch of stuff in here, like resistance valve and voltage. The power's off, so there's nothing on the right now. There's nothing on it right now. Is this like an examination table? There's a creepy mannequin in here, guys. I don't know what kind of table this is, but part of it's all black. There's a pen lying over here. I think someone probably used it to make the table black. Well, if it's only used the pen on one part of it, there's probably something underneath all that pen. Clover, do you think you can erase it? Yeah, sure. Oh, this is a permanent marker. So we need our ethanol. We need to get it over to her. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker? Erase ink from a permanent marker, huh? Give me just a minute, Clover. I'll be right back. I wonder what they washed here. Some weird coloured stains all over the sink. What this is? I think it looks like a voltmeter. This is the control for that? Gosh, there's so many dials. Why don't you try turning one of them? No, nothing. There's no power here, guys. I turned the dial a whole bunch, but even if I turn all the switches on, nothing happens. It's a rack. There's a bunch of cables on it. Somebody cut the outer shell, outer stuff of the cables. I can see the wires inside. Guess the drain for water, huh? Well, there's nothing here. There's just the stairs I came down. The bars and the gate are just above me. You join the machine? Well, I don't know, you know. There's a bunch of cords hanging from the bottom of it. Gee, there's a lot of cords. It looks like they all go over here into the mannequin's head. So the device and the mannequin are connected. What the hell are they doing in there? Oh man, back when this laboratory was active, that wasn't a mannequin in there, I bet. It was a real life human on that table. I wonder what... No, I don't want to think about that. Clover, use this ethanol. You should be able to wipe off the permanent ink with it. What am I going to wipe with? Oh, well, your clothes, of course. Kidding, just kidding. Please don't look at me like that, you're scaring me. There's a lot of stuff here. I don't know if we could use any of these. Well, I can say for sure, I'm sure I do know how to use at least one of these things. Which one? The one on top. I think it's a power cable. Power cable, huh? I'll take it. Three-pronged power cable. So we need a power cable. Do you remember if we ran into anything that didn't have power? Well, it doesn't have a power cable. So one of the cable needs to be connected to the monitor, and the other one needs to be to the plug under the desk. Alright, let's just slip you in. Huh? Well, shoot, I can't use this. What's wrong? The cable has 3 prongs, but the socket only has 2 holes. It's not going to fit, is what I'm saying. In other words, we're going to need a plug to change the power cable to one with 2 prongs. That's right. And Clover knew... Yeah, Clover's got herself stuck on the other side of that gate, so we're having to, like, do an escape room where she gets involved, too. Some paper and stuff in them. What's in the boxes? They're quite full. As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of notes about some kind of experiments. But it's all really technical and stuff. I don't really get it. They're working, we're not at the moment. Is there anything in here? That looks like a plug on the wall. Hey. Permanent ink? Look, Clover, right now, at the moment, you're the only person we can depend on. I'm trusting you with this. You trust me? I kind of feel special. Okay, but can you, like, maybe, like, put this in? I have to get Clover out of here now. Hey, Clover, how are the power cables over there? Huh? What do you mean? Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look. Guess she kind of... she does have to kind of crouch down to get a look under there. The cables on the monitor has... it's got 2 of those little metal things. What does that mean? That's it. Okay, can you unplug that cable and bring it over here? Okay, but... But? Well, I can unplug it, but it's also connected to the main computer. I can't take it over to you. Damn it, it's no good then. Well, how about just the plug? What? The plug. Well, maybe more like the connector. It's the sort of thing that makes the plug with the 3 metal thingies into the plug with 2 metal thingies. Still useless? Not useless. Not useless at all. That's just what we were looking for. Okay. Can you hold on for a little bit? Back down she goes. Alright. Unplugged. I'll hand it over to you at the bars, okay? Hey, Clover. And she's wandering around the table. I don't think she even knows what we're calling her. Hey, Clover. I need that. What's she wandering around the table for? What's on her mind? Let's pull the table. So get ethanol and then use it to wash off all the stuff from the permanent marker, okay? Alright, okay, so I just got to soak the cloth with ethanol. Well, she got the cloth, but seems to be having a little trouble with that bottle of ethanol. When she's ready, I should ask her to get the work on the stuff on the table. Can you get me in now? Yeah, she's too distracted by this table. Put the cloth in ethanol and... Junpei! It's working! It's wiping the permanent ink off! Huh? There's some kind of weird drawing under all the permanent ink. What's the deal with that drawing Clover found? Maybe I should ask her to take another look at the table. I wonder what this is. There's a bunch of numbers in some kind of grid. Can't see it from here. Clover, you've got a pen and a notebook, right? Could you write these numbers down and hand them to me through the bars? Okay, Roger. Can we, like, pick this shit up now? Here, Junpei. I wrote down all the numbers from the desk in here. Papers and numbers acquired. New material has been added to the file screen. A note Clover copied from the stand in the laboratory. It has 4 numbers written in 9 separate cells. Okay. Also, while we're here, can we have that thing? The 2-prong plug. Thank you. Okay, put the 2-prong plug into the head of the power cable. Pretty sure this will work. Under the desk I go. And let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, that ought to do it. Alright, let's turn on the power. I don't think anything's gonna happen. Why not? Well, it's not connected to the main computer. You never know until you try. Pretty optimistic. Junpei pushed a button on the front of the monitor.
Oh, that worked.
With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen. What? He'd hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
Huh? It's running on its own?
It certainly looks like it.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right? There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display.
Clearly, that was a reasonable explanation to Lotus.
A wireless display?
Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly. Hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei?
He almost certainly had not, but...
Normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
Oh.
Oh, it stopped.
Pass with a colon.
Looks like we need to enter a password.
Again? There must be a hint around here somewhere.
Could you go take a look?
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you going to do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
On your own?
Yep, on my own.
Lotus?
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left, then right.
All right. Let's kick some ass.
Look at Junpei's face. Look at him so, like dumbfoundedly just, like, blank staring at it. Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. And then before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed. The click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire.
Wait, what?
Junpei was for once at a loss for words.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Of course I didn't! You're typing so fast, I can't even see your fingers.
Lotus grinned, pleased with herself.
Well, at any rate, you're pretty amazing.
Did you fall for me again?
Whoa, what do you mean, again? I'm not into you.
I know. Don't be so stubborn, shy boy.
I am not being stubborn, I am not shy, and I am not a boy.
Junpei, you fucking idiot.
I am a young, healthy, 21-year-old man. I'm not gonna fall for an old lady like you.
Suddenly the guttural roar of a furious animal filled the room. Also, Junpei thought for just a moment. Lotus's hand suddenly stopped and her shoulders stiffened.
Old lady? Did you just say old lady?
Well,
Ah, crap. Poor Junpei. I went too far. Oh well, it was a nice life while it lasted.
I've had enough of you. Go somewhere else. You're bothering me.
What?
Go see if you can find a password hint or something. I'll try and open this from here. You're distracting me. Go. Now.
Lotus waved her hand in the universal gesture of just dismissal. Junpei was clearly not
Fine.
wanted.
I guess I'll go.
Time to cut my losses, Junpei thought, and left as quickly and inoffensively as he could. Junpei wandered around the room for a while, looking for anything that might help find the password for the computer. Unfortunately...
Nothing. No clues whatsoever. Clover didn't find anything useful in the laboratory either. Damn. Looks like we've hit a dead end this time.
But Jesse was about to tell Lotus that his search had returned nothing.
All right. Bullseye. Junpei, I did it.
How, hacker woman? Excited cheering erupted from near the monitor.
What?
He hurried back to find Lotus looking rather smug.
Let me see.
She gestured for him to look at the screen, and he did. The strange text from before was gone, and in its place was something entirely different. 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 square.
What is that?
I don't have any idea. It just showed up after I cracked the password.
You think it's a puzzle?
Well, we already... which button is it? Know how we're solving this one.
Certainly looks like one.
As she spoke, Lotus stood up.
Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
No, I can't do anymore. It won't let me do any more programming. See? The keyboard. Nothing. So, there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Let me take a break, all right? I did my part.
Well...
He wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, he probably would have run completely aground. She didn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself.
I guess you're right. Thanks, Lotus.
No problem. And make sure you know when you should thank people.
Now, I better take care of this myself. No more relying on anyone else.
Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen. Oh, right! I solved it. Did you hear a noise just now? Yeah, I did. It sounded like something unlocking. Where did it come from? Oh. These. Look, Junpei! The lights in the lockers are green. Then we must have unlocked it with the computer puzzle. What's in here? Keys? But you gotta pick them up? There we go. There's more than one key in here. This one is small and looks like it goes in some sort of machine. And this one has the Earth symbol on it. I think the Earth symbol matches a keyhole on a door on A deck. Well, if that's the case, you probably don't need the Earth key right now. Alright then, Earth key. I'll just tuck you away deep in my pocket. Now for the other key. Activation key. I've one of those like kind of shaped keys at work. Because at that moment you heard a voice behind him. It was Clover.
Hey, Junpei, do you have a minute?
He put the puzzle aside for a moment and walked over to Clover.
What's up?
Well, never mind.
Hey, hold on a minute.
Sorry. Just forget about it. It's nothing.
Before he could say anything else, she spun around and ran back down the stairs.
What the hell was that?
After waiting a few minutes to see if she would return, Junpei sighed, shook his head, and went back to searching. There was a monitor. A whole lot of cables under this table. There's something sticking out of the mannequin's head, like wires or something. What the hell are they doing in there? Why is she all quiet now? They were doing experiments on humans, probably. Oh man, now she looks sad. I'm going through it right now, though. This key. Shape of that machine. Alright, I'm turning it on. Alright, the monitor is now on. And it's full of letters. It's showing some kind of warning. Power restored to experimental device. Emergency system will activate in the event of abnormal subject behavior. Okay. Yeah, what isn't doing squat? From here, it's like there's a bunch of... Yep, like I said, is this doing anything? Junpei! The thing in here's on now! Yeah, that's because we activated the power over on this side. Could you, like, play with it a little? Okay, yeah. I'll turn this dial here. Turn, turn, turn. I don't think it's working. Nothing happened. Or maybe she missed something. I should ask her to look around the room again. Monitor, there's a whole lot of cables under the table. Mannequin's on the thing, it's not doing anything. Drain for water has been used. I've already got that scribble. It's a rack, there's some cables on top with a copper wire exposed. Maybe increase the voltage? Roger, will do. Alright, I'm gonna go all the way to max voltage. Max? Hey! Wait, Clover. Oh, shit. What? I think, Oh my god! The mannequin's head! Oh man, that sounds like a fire alarm. What the hell? Fire detected! Fire detected! The emergency system will be activated. Evacuate the room immediately. Okay, this is so funny, but it's no laughing matter. When I do something, Clover will. Junpei, look at the light. Yes, it's green. The emergency system is activated to disable the lock. Then we can save Clover. Junpei! Come on, kid, jump. She's safe. Oh man, that's making some serious business. I'm gonna close this door again, I think. Clover, are you okay? Are you hurt? Damn, she's coughing so hard she can't even talk. Of course I'm not alright. What the hell took you so long, you big jerk? I was almost dead. Sorry, I was going as fast as I could. You can do this later. Right now we need to get the hell out of here. The fire's not going to stay in that room forever. Alright. Alright, the first two, like, rooms we did last time, I was stuck on for ages. These two, both of them, we've managed to do relatively smoothly. Like, we kind of found the pieces as we went. Junpei, Clover, and Lotus leapt out of the laboratory, slamming the door shut behind them.
Whew, thank God we got out of there.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, yeah.
All three collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Junpei's heart was pounding in his chest. His whole body felt weak. He inhaled gulps of clean air, and with each one, he could feel his body begin to calm down.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
They nodded to each other and started off down the hallway. Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked.
Damn, none of these open. They're all locked.
How about that one?
The final door sat in a corner of the hallway.
Let's hope this is the door with the prize.
Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt the voice belonged to...
Jumpy!
June! She's okay!
Huh?
He spun around. There, at the other end of the hall, Junpei saw human figures running towards him. 3 of them.
June? Santa! 7!
He stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, gasping for air. So if I check the novel screen... No. No. Which button is it? Yeah, okay, so you do reconvene here. So if we went through... I'm going to assume that's the 7 door and you reconvene. It's only if you go down the 3 door you don't reconvene with anyone.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before you could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys, could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of the small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Hey, on the wall.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Okay, so yeah, we can see on the right side, all those... That's like the room we left Ace in. And we also know of the 4 doors going up it, the bottom 2 we could go through, and the absolute top 1 we could go through, but the one in between it we couldn't. Actually, no, other way around. The 3 doors on the far left. It's the top 2 that are 7 and 8. So yeah, 7 and 8. You can see the curved room where the lab was. So none of the doors open on their path. So 7 would have had to... I wish I could to bring up the cursor on this screen. Because it's like 8... We went through the absolute furthest door at the top. Went down the hall, followed it down. So it took that turn going south and then the turn west. The door at the very end was where we went through. It went into that room with the curved screen because that's where the lab is. On the other side of that, so at the south door we opened it, in that long string of corridor, which is where the one door we couldn't open is there. Meanwhile, the other team, when they went through their one, would have went down into that big square room, which had 2 smaller rooms attached to it. Oh, that sounds like it'll be a fun puzzle then, 3 rooms. Before going into a split corridor that goes down to reconvene with us. So the door at the end of the corridor is, on the other side of it, is where Ace is. We're on the other side of the one door that wasn't numbered, so maybe we can unlock it from this side and get Ace back.
Door 7, and...
Yeah, that's the 7 route that they took. There's the 8 route that we took.
Yep. They both eventually end up at this hallway.
In fact...
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. And that's how the nonary game works.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. This leads to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh,
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
Oh, now I get it. Now I get it why door 3 goes on a separate path on this so far removed. Because these 2 loop back to the start as well, whilst this one doesn't, so you'd be stranded with that group for the rest of it.
yeah.
As one, they all moved back towards the door Junpei had only a moment ago been ready to open.
Oh, almost forgot. We should keep this.
He pulled a map from the ship's interior off the wall and put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
They nodded their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. And it opens! Okay, so we are back full circle then. They poured through the doorway into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be.
Back.
At the start.
In the hospital room.
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying. The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors.
Hello
7
again,
and
Ace.
8.
We're back.
You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory.
Operating room? Ooh, there's an operating room puzzle for Team 7. Alright.
And then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
He looks like anyone might, only after just waking up. But it seems like his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism. I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head with a rueful smile.
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
7 smiled.
Anyway, I say we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room. Here.
7 tossed something small and metallic towards Junpei.
Nice catch.
Jeez.
He caught it and found that the object was a key.
I see. So this is Jupiter.
On it, someone had engraved a symbol very similar to a 4. He looked over at June, who nodded back. It had been the Jupiter symbol.
I'm gonna let you hold on to that, alright?
Yeah, on it.
Junpei tucked the new key into his pocket.
So how many unused keys do we have now?
There's the Earth key we found in the laboratory. the Saturn key card we found in the kitchen. And the Jupiter key you just gave me.
I'm just the key hoarder now, apparently. Junpei took the new keys into his pocket. Jun spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs...
Wait!
They were the first words they had heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
Look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. It just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
There is a point.
There is a point. It's called we split back onto this dead-end path.
At least there is for me.
There were tears in her eyes, but she glared at Seven as hard as she could, just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who could have resisted those eyes. Seven looked everywhere in the room except at Clover, and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then. I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again. So, Seven, you'll help me, won't you?
Huh? Me?
Yeah, because number code. Right? Clover is 4. Yeah. Junpei did the calculations. I mean, and I did the calculations. Quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 is 7 is 12, 1 and 2 is 3. Like 7 was doing them too. At last, he gave up.
Damn. Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh?
Yes, you are.
Alright, let's get moving.
So it was decided that Clover, Ace, and 7 would discover what lay beyond door 3.
Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Oh. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it. The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
Yeah, that is a point. Hang on, let me get that math calculator up. Let's get our favourite toy out. Ace is gone. Snake, we don't know where he is. But with Santa, me, June, we can only make 4. 7 nodded, as if this answer made much more sense, and pulled the lever on the red.
Okay, we're off.
The door opened, and Ace, Clover, and 7 jumped through it. 6, 7, 8... And on the 9th second, after exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily.
Alright, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Get moving?
Where are we going?
Everyone except Lotus seemed rather
Well,
confused.
it would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it? Let me explain.
Oh, I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
Which would also mean the team that went on the free path wasted their time if we do. They were at the end of a hallway line of individual hospital rooms.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
Alright, Junpei. Open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quickly as he could. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase.
Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea?
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
Of course there's a reason. That's what I'm going to save before I make that choice. The only choice I kind of regretted was challenging Lotus earlier. about the numbers. I thought if I just let it slide, it might have led to something else.
Of course there's a reason. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulls 2 things out of his pockets.
The Saturn key card. And the Earth key? I'm lost.
Santa cocked his head to one side, like an inquisitive bird, and looked at them. After several long moments, during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, Jun took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. And on A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think. So the 2 keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck.
Yes, that's right.
Also, I want to check something on the novel page. No, we're still here, okay. I still think... If, I don't know, because I'm thinking, like, Earth key card is that these paths. I still think this is, like, if I, like, steered off back onto path 3, you end up going down this road. Like, this is a dead... Like, door 3 is a death door. You just go down a linear path that goes wrong. Because none of the other paths reconverge. Jin smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa.
Alright, I got it. Let's get started then. What do you say we split into 2 teams? Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you 2 can search Saturn, alright?
Sounds good. Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. They decided that their initial search should be brief.
We have no idea what's on the other side of these. So don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
Plan decided, team split up. Junpei and June headed for the
There's
elevators.
a card reader next to the left elevator.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
A light on the upper left corner blinked to life.
Great! It looks like it's working now.
All right, now how do I call the elevator?
There was a single button on the right of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside down triangle on it.
I guess there's no up button.
Upside down triangle on it. June, sweetheart, you could just say, oh, it only goes down. Do you not know that means down?
We may as well try pushing this one.
The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
It opened! Look, Jumpy!
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened! Let's get going.
He grinned at June and stepped towards the open door. He was about to set foot in it. He felt a hand on his arm.
Wait!
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
Junpei was something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? Junpei was probably afraid of. Gee, I wonder if it's because they can only go down. I'm gonna save anyway. Because I'm paranoid. She was afraid because the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, that the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators with an A and B deck on the central staircase, all of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower decks.
Come to think of it, the lower floor.
Yeah, if we go down, it will just flood us out.
An elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise, like it was moving, and then it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Oh, you're right. They are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Well, let's test it.
Test it.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two, E and C. All right, I'll push E.
pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down. Yeah, because they're going to wait for it, because it will automatically open when it goes down to E. And then assuming it can come back up, if it comes back up when it's still dry, we know it's
I
safe.
think I can hear it opening on E deck.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned. It's still dry, so it has to be safe down there.
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen. See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest just a little bit. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean? How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you.
Brought a notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk? The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, alright?
But...
Come on, just do it, alright?
Gave Jun's shoulder a reassuring squeeze and hopped into the elevator. He pushed the E button, and as the door began to close, Jun looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly...
I'm coming with you!
Yeah, she's gonna jump in. Yeah, I knew it.
Huh?
Huh? At the last possible moment, Jun dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Hey, wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late.
Oh, crap. It closed.
The door had shut, he and Jun were in the elevator, and he was headed down to E deck. He was so surprised by Jun that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on the E deck.
I can't just let you go alone, you know.
Ah, jeez.
The elevator stopped, and the door slid open. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
Looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business, or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish, or at least something that looked very much like one. Jun's cheeks were puffed out, and her mouth a tiny, intense frown.
Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought.
She was holding her breath because she thought she was going to get, like, slammed with water.
Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
Jun looked around nervously then. Exhaled.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's gonna happen if the ceiling breaks?
Let me thought about that for a moment.
We'd probably die.
Oh no. Don't be so casual about something like that.
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay, good idea.
Now then...
Junpei glanced around the room they found themselves in. The first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
Iron bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe...
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening.
Well,
he walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
it looks like there's a straight hallway
shit.
down this way.
Shit.
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Let's check.
Junpei and Jun set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. It was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
And even if it did allow 2 people, it would make 11, and which would then make 2, so we couldn't get in anyway.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
You mean June turn, head back to C deck. How about if it was all 4 of us, though, of our current team? So Silver, Lotus, June, and I. That doesn't make it in. Who has to get left behind? I don't think any of us can open it, can they? Unless I'm missing a blatant, obvious combination. It's a 6.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall.
Is this the map for Edek? I should take it with me. Huh, so you guys found door 1.
Door 1, however, we can get into. Right? Us 3. We just have to leave Silver behind on his own. They met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck. Beyond the door was the Earth key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors. The 6 door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
This was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
We don't really know if all of Edek is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator.
Even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
And that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. Jin bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
Jin looked up at Junpei with large pleading eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Yep, I had a feeling she's going to say, well, us 3 can open door 1, Silver can go back and reunite with the other group. Because if he reunites with the other group, hang on, I always pressed the wrong button, which was Ace, Clover, and 7. If we then also add, Clover is number 4. If we then also add him, they can go through it. So that team, when they rendezvous, can go down the elevator and go through the other door.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
Yep.
Just kidding. All right, let's go.
Those words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. But it still stands. It's still a good setup. They stepped inside. A tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was 7.
7?
Oh, no luck then. Ace was right behind him, and Clover was right behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
Are we still on the same page? We are! Wow, this is one long page. It looks as though there was something strange about them. 7 had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Jimmy looked around nervously, waiting for someone to speak. No one did. He looked at 7.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
7 was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
Snake is...
7 couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by... Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is... dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Clover.
He died, just as the 9th man did.
It was as if the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beading from his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All three were frozen in place, their faces white.
Oh my god, that's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
Yeah, right. We should.
They nodded to one another and headed to the number 3 door.
Wait, not that way.
What? What?
They stopped short and turned back to 7. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so we can go in that way.
Where is he?
The shower room. The left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
Well, that means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
The new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed to the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left
This
wall.
wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as 7 had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Ugh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It's just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat, to pound against the entrance to his stomach. He put his hand over his mouth and struggled to keep what was little of his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere, a few arms splattered reaching towards them as they walked in through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radical arms to their source. Not radical, radial. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned and walked towards the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Jimmy put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in the instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it.
Just like Ace said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his, ulna? Una? I don't know how you pronounce that. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covering in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the grey slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise of a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time, it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest. Her eyes were blank, and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the Ninth Man was.
Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven: Ace, Sansa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them in turn and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it. Alone. And waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake. But he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door. And then, 81 seconds after he was shoved in, that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Sorry, I was waiting for the motorbike. I was waiting for the motorbike to go. It was a very slow burner. It's still going. You might even be able to hear it. Very slowly going up the road. Let me think, because Snake is 2. It has to be at least 2 other people. So if Ace is bad, it can't be Ace alone. Because even though that would make 3, it wouldn't be enough to open the door. What else? Unless the dead man's... Because 9's the dead guy. But unless his watch has been taken, then theoretically it could still just be 1 killer. If the watch got taken, because Ace was with the group that went into the room with Man 9's body. So if Ace is in that room, if Ace picked up his watch, he could have used his own watch, used the dead man's watch, and then thrown Snake in to secure his death. If we're going off the theory that he's bad. Right?
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah, that means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
June seemed shocked.
How can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven? What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner. And those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
Yes. That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship.
Even if you're the one that's, like, questionably the one that's hardest to trust. Questionably, because of that little stunt earlier of him being the lone one.
Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes. Almost certainly Zero himself. If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
Junpei hadn't really considered that.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
Junpei, was Zero still on the ship with them? Oh, that's such a huge fuck. Uh-oh. Oh, that's absolutely a save. That's a huge fucking decision to make. Because if I say he isn't, then it has to be one of us. And so that becomes very accusatory. I will go with the group for now, because I want to keep trust together. Of course he was. That was obvious.
I don't...
Zero was somewhere on the ship, but Junpei had no idea where. Junpei mumbled to himself, lost in thought.
Where could Zero be hiding?
Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghostly moaning noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of this jailer, of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? But we were all, unless it was pre-recorded. Oh!
That's crazy. Isn't the ship going to sink in a few hours? If Zero was here with us, he'd be putting himself in danger. Why the hell would he do something like that? There's no motive.
Clover looked up at Junpei and her face fell.
Don't believe me.
Her eyes were so pitiful. When Junpei's met them, he felt his heart tighten. He didn't think what he said was wrong, but perhaps the way he said it could had been. Ah! I'm kind of tempted to load my save because I'm not sure. I'm kind of tempted to load my save because I'm really not fucking sure. You've been too insensitive. Clover had just lost her brother. I'm actually going to load it because I don't trust that. Sorry, sorry to interrupt, but it's like in my deepest heart of hearts, it's like
Good question. If Zero killed Snake...
I'm gonna try down this path instead. He wasn't sure.
Something's still strange.
What was that?
Well, I'm just wondering about one thing.
And what's that?
How can you be so sure that Zero's on this ship?
Ace's eyebrows shot up.
Really, Junpei? I confess I'm a little disappointed. Usually you're rather sharp. Isn't it obvious?
Wait, it is?
This ship.
Huh?
Zero said, "this ship," several times when he addressed us. If he weren't here, he wouldn't say this ship, would he? He'd be saying something like, that ship, or the ship.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense to be very little foolish he hadn't seen it himself. So he's left with a question, and it was one of small importance.
If Zero's on the ship, where is he?
Suddenly everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghostly moaning noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. So I'm going to agree with her this time, because I think... maybe...
I think Zero...
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Ultimately, my choice is dictated on whether June agrees with me. If I say yeah and June goes, no, it's impossible, I'm reloading going the other path. It's possible.
Well, that's possible.
Huh?
Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us.
What are you saying, Jumpy? Didn't you hear what Ace said?
Yeah, fuck me. God damn it. 1 second. Because I'm committed to the path of sticking with June, basically. That's the whole point of my decision making. It's sticking with June for now.
Good question. Is Zero? But
And like breaking off afterwards. So we just wasted. Sorry guys, I just wasted 5 minutes of your guys' time, but I had to kind of figure it out.
I think one of us.
Bing.
That's crazy, isn't it? If Zero, why the? There's no.
Ew.
I'm sorry, Clover. I was so pitiful. When Junpei's met them, he felt his heart tighten. I think what he said was wrong, but he'd been too cruel. Clover had just lost her brother. His death would have been bad enough, but she'd also been seen the blasted wreck of his body. We barely knew him, and the sight had been enough to make him sick. What Clover had felt, it couldn't begin to imagine. In the mental state she must have been in, it was understandable that she would look at those around her with suspicion. She felt with everyone was against. She probably felt everyone was against her. The least Junpei could have done was try to understand what she was feeling. He felt ashamed of what he'd said. Perhaps he thought, I should apologize. But before that apology could begin...
Clover, I understand what you're feeling. You don't feel that you can trust any of us.
Ace had beaten Junpei to the punch. As he spoke to Clover, his face was calm and friendly.
But you have to understand. The more we distrust one another, the further we fall into our true foe's trap. Zero was the one who did those horrible things to your brother. Do you want to let yourself be manipulated by someone who would do such a horrible thing?
She didn't answer. She didn't even want to look at Ace. The whole time her eyes were on Junpei. He could feel Clover's eyes boring into him. The colour of a deep winter lake, Junpei saw no suspicion in them, only sadness. Then in that horrible silence... They heard a bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase.
It's 3 in the morning.
That means we have 3 hours left.
Then we need to move now. 7. Clover, I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
7 and Clover remained silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
Our next destination is Mercury.
But maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
All right, let's go, June.
That was a skip. What have I missed? Oh, we're still on this chapter.
Right. Here it is.
Sat bolted to the wall near the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen between the 2 elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah.
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
I think 7 said something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens. I guess the elevator works now.
Jumpy, I know it's only the 2 of us, but let's do our best.
Absolutely.
What's with you all of a sudden?
Well, I'm happy we were put together.
Aww.
You know it's just for searching E-Deck, right?
Even so, I'm glad I'm with you.
Aww.
Oh, first we need to find out if the elevator comes up full of water.
Just like we did before.
Yeah, send it down, see if it comes up dry.
Oh, here it is.
I knew it. It's not wet at all.
Let's go.
Yes.
Once it had been checked for water, Junpei and June stepped into the elevator.
Look! Nearly all of the buttons are destroyed.
Yeah, only the seat and bottom button can be pushed.
We're on C deck right now, so the only one we can choose is bottom.
Yeah. Well, let's try it out.
Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward.
Oh, so this is the bottom deck.
They stepped off and saw that the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end, but not a regular dead end.
Over there.
This is a numbered door.
This is the 8th one we found. There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase. They were doors 4 and 5. 3 more in the large hospital room. Doors 3, 7, and 8.
And the door we found on E deck, and the door Lotus and Santa found on A deck. It was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck.
Yeah, we have 1, 2's in front of us, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the only door we haven't seen is this 9 door. And now door 2 stood in front of Junpei.
Means...
Do you think the next door we find?
Yeah, I think so. The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei felt excited. There was something about that excitement that frightened him as well.
Finally!
Yeah,
You don't look very happy about it, though.
it's not that. I just hope nothing goes wrong.
You're right. We should keep our fingers crossed.
Let's head back.
Okay.
He did his best to put it from his mind and head back to C deck with June.
1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, 7 pieces.
Pieces of paper they folded up lay on the ground next to Junpei's legs. Everyone had written on paper pulled from Junpei's notebook in an effort to pull together a blind vote.
Double checking, but everyone wrote their code name and a door number they want, right?
Oh my god!
Yes, just like you told us earlier.
Can't believe we're voting here.
They had decided to vote that way.
We need to make the whole thing fair, blah-de-blah. This is a complicated plan, you know. Hurry it up, Mr. I have a brilliant idea.
They decided it wasn't fair to simply ask everyone at once. They would only allow people to force others to go through certain doors.
Yeah, quiet in the peanut gallery.
And he had a plan. It wasn't a plan he wanted anyone catching wind of, however, so he did his best to act calm to begin to read the piece of paper.
Alright, let's open these up. The first one says, Ace requests door 1.
Yes, I do. Would you like me to explain why?
No, we don't have time for that. Sorry. Let's keep going.
You opened the second
Next
one.
is Santa. He wants door 6.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Junpei continued with the third, fourth, and fifth pieces of paper.
Clover wants 1, Lotus wants 2, and 7 also wants 2.
Wait a minute. There is no way I'm going anywhere with the Elephant Man.
No, there'd be no point to the voting if we let people change their choices because of stuff like that.
But
Just give it up, Lotus. It's not like I want to hang out with some exhibitionist grandma.
I am not an exhibitionist. I'm wearing clothes.
Barely.
So, last I checked, that's not a crime.
Maybe. But what about common decency? Nobody wants to have to look at a chick who looks like a half-naked raisin.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you!
Guys, save the cartoon fighting later! Lotus's hair flared out like a mane of an angry lion. And roared with a voice that shook the walls.
Let go! Let go of me! I'm killing him!
With some difficulty, Ace managed to restrain her.
Junpei, read the rest.
Yeah, Junpei's like, Junpei, please!
Right.
Junpei tore his eyes away and looked down at the 6th piece of paper. He opened it.
June wants door 6.
Yes. I don't really have a reason. I just felt like it.
Well, the paper saved Junpei's had been read. He did some quick calculations in his head.
So this was everyone's vote. Ace and Clover requested door 1.
Okay. That was the door on A deck near the central staircase.
7 and Lotus requested door 2.
The bottom deck could be reached by taking the elevator to the bottom of the ship. Let me do some quick maths, actually, whilst he's doing it. Ace and Clover want door 1. If I hop in as well, we can go. Who did they say for 2? 7 and Lotus on door 2. If I go with them, I can go. Which means June's alone. Because we only have 6 people.
Santa and June requested.
Oh, sorry, Santa. I completely forgot about Santa. But if I can't go. That was the door on E deck. Should be reached by taking the elevator near the central staircase down.
The door I should choose is...
Less than a second to run the numbers. He opened the 7th piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine. I want to go through...
Yep. It's like, if I say door 6, we're gonna have to figure some shit out. But I stick with June. If I say 1 or 2, we can go, though. This is a huge dividing point. I already know this is going to be a huge dividing point. This is going to affect a lot. I'm sticking to my route of sticking with June, so I'm going to say 6 and then try and figure out what needs to be adjusted.
I want to go through door 6.
He flips open the piece of paper. We read Junpei door 6. Of course it did. He'd written it after all.
That's a problem.
June spoke barely above a whisper, but they all knew what she'd said.
These teams will be able to go through the doors they want.
Clover and I chose door 1.
Lotus and I chose door 2.
That's not enough people to open a numbered door, however.
The digital routes don't match up either.
We've got similar problems. Junpei, and I want to go through door 6, but our digital route is 5. If we're gonna open that door, we need a 1.
Damn, what are we gonna do now?
What are we going to do?
Junpei crossed his arms and did his best to put his thoughts in order. The others followed suit, but with little result. Eventually, Clover broke the silence.
Why don't 7 and Lotus go through door 1 with me?
Her face was cold and flat, as was her voice, but her logic was sound. 7 and Lotus looked at each other. 7 plus 8 and 4 is 19, 1 plus 9 is 10, 1 and 0, 1. With problem resolved, Ace spoke up.
What about me?
Isn't that obvious? Wasn't one of the teams just complaining that they didn't have a 1?
Yeah, Ace comes with us instead to make the 6.
You mean I should join Santa's team?
Yeah, because if we get Ace on Santa's team, we can make it work.
Yes.
Clover nodded, his face still cold and emotionless. Her attitude and posture could not have been more different than the energetic girl only a few hours before. None of them seemed ready to contradict her. Her response was understandable, given the horrible situation in which she found herself. But even so...
Huh. I understand. I'll go through door 6 then. If we do as Clover has suggested, we can all pass through a numbered door and no one will be left behind. This seems to be the most reasonable solution.
Yeah. I did maths I just did. I keep on bringing up the calculator myself and doing the maths because I want to make sure I'm still on top of everything and still have an idea. But the game, in the visual novel bits, always runs the maths through you anyway. So it's like...
I don't have a problem with it.
Me either.
Alright then, we're good to go.
See you later.
Wait, Clover! Don't move on your own!
Oh, I'll be going too then.
Yeah, be careful.
We should get going as well.
It's the first time doing an investigation room with Ace in our squad. I'm like, ugh. At last, Junpei and the other 6 managed to separate themselves into 2 teams. Clover, 7 and Lotus headed to A deck. I haven't teamed up with 7 at all, either. I never teamed up with Snake, but it's too late now, and I've never teamed up with 7. We've got Ace now. We've teamed up with Santa, the first 2 times. We teamed up with Clover last time. I always try and stick with June. We've had to put up with Lotus too many times. So yeah, it's literally just 7 of the people still alive I haven't teamed up with yet. Junpei, June, Ace, and Santa, however, took the elevator to E-Deck. Right, to E-Deck was a silent one.
This is E-Deck.
There should be a door at the end of the hall.
All right, let's go.
Santa's words jolted them to action, and they stepped out of the elevator into a long straight hallway. Before long, they arrived in front of door 6.
There it is. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Then let's get to it.
One by one, they put their palms over the red. With a soft electronic noise, they authenticated each of them. So what path do you think I've landed myself in? Do you think I've landed on one of the good paths, or do you think if I look... Okay, good. I was so scared of landing on this fucking path. I was so scared of landing on this path because it ends so soon. You know, it's such a dead end. Was this one, we still got, you know, more choices coming up yet. Okay. I'm satisfied with that. And all at once, the 4 of them let through it. I wonder which door puts you on that path, then.
I found it. It's right there.
Fortunately, the dead was located easily enough. This one had been placed quite close to the door they'd entered through. They gathered around it quickly and hurriedly placed their palms on its authentication one by one.
It stopped.
Yes, it stopped.
The countdown had ceased, but Junpei's heart was still pounding in his chest like a frantic, thunderous drum. It felt as though it might shake itself up and down, up and out of his throat.
Whew. I don't believe I'll ever get used to that.
I'm not sure it's something I'd want to get used to. We should finish this game before imminent death becomes a normal thing.
You got that right. Once I'm out of this hellhole, I'm taking a nice long vacation.
Speaking of vacations, although it's still months away, I'm looking at my Christmas schedule. Christmas week I'll be taking off, but New Year's week I probably will be back. So instead of taking 2 weeks off like I did last time, I might only be taking 1 week off. And the only reason I'm saying might and maybe is because the schedule could change, but as it stands, I'm doing basically nothing all of New Year's week outside of New Year's Day. Whilst Christmas week, I'm going to be very busy for most, if not the whole of Christmas week. But obviously I'll talk about that more closer to the time. But like last year, I took New Year's week off as well. But this year, I've basically got nothing in my schedule New Year's week right now. Obviously, if things change, I'll let you guys know closer to the time. But it should only be 1 week off that I'll be taking this year, compared to last.
I agree.
With that, the doom and gloom from before was done and the mood turned somewhat lighter.
All right, let's go.
That attempt at good humour, Junpei took a deep breath and began to walk. I mean, technically I'm not doing anything Christmas Day, but I'll just spend that with family, you know? I'm not going to stream on Christmas Day. I'm just going to hang out with my family. He jogged down the stairs at the end of the hallway and found himself staring at a large door.
This door looks heavy.
But it's not locked. I'm opening it.
He took hold of the bar that served as its doorknob and shoved it down. If we're about to enter another escape room, by the way, I will be wrapping up just because I don't know how long it will take. My family, to be honest. And that's beautiful. That genuinely puts a smile on my face to read. That's lovely. It's just me, it's like, I'm not going to leave my mum alone on Christmas Day, you know. I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm just going to go stream, you know. It was gargantuan, and made entirely of metal, none of the accents of wood or tile he'd seen in the rest of the ship. This room is pretty functional, but utterly tremendous. And I do feel like to bring up this again, we've done a lot of reading in a row here, so I think another escape room is imminent.
Whoa, what the hell is this?
Santa got out a few words before awe stole the rest of them. The rest were too stunned to offer anything more than gasps.
This has to be the biggest room so far. The ceiling is pretty high, too.
Huh.
Oh, if this is the escape room and it's this big, then yeah, I'm absolutely wrapping up, because there's no way we're going to get it done in like half an hour, because that's like the absolute maximum I'd want to go to before I wrap up, because I've still got work this evening.
This space could be utilizing the entire length of the ship.
What's that huge Kamaboko-looking building in the middle?
June pointed to the massive building in the center.
Kamaboko? Well, I guess that's as good of a description of it as any.
Junpei and the others were standing on scaffolding that crisscrossed the whole area. The proper term was catwalk, Junpei thought, although that didn't seem particularly important. Seeming particularly important.
I see stairs, so we may as well head over to them.
Yeah, but this section's barely wide enough to fit one person.
You're right.
Nearby was a long iron staircase that made its way eventually to the floor beneath them.
Whoa, you can't even tell the shape when you're this close.
Let's check out the other side, too.
They moved around towards the opposite side of the massive building, following the catwalk. They hadn't said much as they walked, but as they approached the building, Ace suddenly spoke up.
This looks to be the steam engine room.
The steam engine room?
Yes, that thing that looks like a cross-section of a mushroom is the boiler.
Also, if we're... I say close. Close is an exaggeration, but if we're vaguely close to reaching the end of the run, on Sunday... And it's a huge, broad maybe. I don't know where I'll fit it in the schedule or how we'll sort it. But on Sunday, I might stream more to get the first run done. Just because with Experiment Week next week as well, we won't get back to this game until after it. So it'll be not this Monday, the Monday after we get back to it. And just to kind of leave it for, one stream to finish our first run, it's that's a long time to leave it for one fucking run.
You see the 3 round doors near the bottom? Coal is put into those.
I say that, but it's been a fortnight since we played Nelka, and we're getting back to that tomorrow, so it doesn't bother me that much.
The same thing that drives
but we'll
the
see.
steam engine. This one is simply somewhat larger.
I see.
It doesn't appear to be...
So I just want to play more of this game, to be honest. I'm genuinely invested. The entire room was as silent as the grave.
Alright, let's split up.
Then all of a sudden, Junpei heard a noise behind him. He turned, just in time to see June collapse to her knees.
Hey, what's wrong? Are you alright?
Well, she is sick. That was established at the start. He dashed towards her and wrapped his arms around her shoulders to steady her.
Hey, June.
It was then that he noticed.
Junpei.
You... Oh, you're really warm. Is your fever coming back?
Yes. It probably is.
Also, Junpei, my man, your hands are huge. Look at it. Look at his hands. They're gargantuan compared to her. Her hands like the size of her whole face. His hands, sorry.
But I'm fine.
But yeah, it was established at the start that she keeps on running a fever. That she's sick.
I just need to rest. And I'll be fine.
Her voice was weak and forced, and said in a great deal more than her words did.
Okay, here, sit down. Careful.
Junpei carried her to the nearest wall, and propped her up against it. She let her head fall back against the wall. She had no longer had the strength to support it, and drew a ragged breath.
Thank you.
Her eyes were empty, as she was having trouble focusing on them, and even speaking seemed difficult for her. Junpei felt his hand ball itself into a fist and clenched tight, his knuckle whitening. He had to find a way out, and quickly. He turned and looked at Ace and Santa in turn.
Ace, Santa.
Yes.
Right.
They might not have shared the depth of his emotion, but they certainly shared his concern.
Alright, let's get started. Hang in there, June. I'm gonna get you out of here real soon.
She managed a small nod before leaning back to rest her head on the wall. Yeah, okay. You gotta solve this gargantuan fucking room. Oh, there's so much. It's so... Next time. Let's have a look at the map first before I wrap. Oh, God. At least it's one giant square, or rectangle. It's it's just one giant... it doesn't toss and turn and twist everywhere. I'm going to save that. I have 4 different save files running, by the way. if this is one of those games, it's no. Just in case I really regret a choice, I've got a lot of saves going. And yes, I will quit. But that'll do for me today. Sorry about the divots with the stream dropping. But we did go, including the last stream as well, for a good 3.5 hours, which I say makes it a good time. Have a good one. I'm going to finish Naruto. Fair enough. You enjoy that, dude. Have you got because I know like Nayata is going to be your 100th platinum. Have you started working on your idea for 100 platinums? Because you said you was going to like do a video for it. Like, have you started like putting the planning in, or have you started recording anything, or like have you got a general idea what you might do for that yet? Out of curiosity. Before I completely close the door on this, because I'm just curious, and because I haven't had the time to hop into your stream recently to just ask there, I thought I'd ask now while I still have you. I always put the plan went up in smoke. Well, I mean, you could always come back to it, just as long as you've got your, like, as long as you know, like, your platinums, and what platinums in particular you might want to talk more at length at. Because, like, if you do a video talking about all 100 of your platinums, that video is going to be so fucking long. It's that, don't, you know? But, like, if it's, like, if you've got, like, know what platinums you want to talk about and whatnot, you can just come back to it later. You know? You can say, like, okay, the 100th I ended up on was on a franchise I love now, but the journey to get here started with, and then whatever your first platinum was, and you can go from there. Like, you can kind of make it like a trip down memory lane video, and like on certain platinums, like there's something interesting that happened around it, or something that like you learned, or something that you enjoyed for it, etc, etc. Man, the more I learn, the more I realize that this intro kind of spoils a little bit. Like, I was barely paying attention to it, but now I'm kind of seeing it in the background. It's like, actually, there's a lot of shit in this. There's a lot of shit in that intro that kind of, like, you see two of the characters dead. I mean, it's the two that we know are dead, but you see two deaths in that. And yeah, from documentary style to retrospective style. That's fair enough. Because it could literally just be, like, you could talk through them, and, like, you don't need to have a comment for all of them. Some games, it's just the grind. Like, you just work your way through the platinum and you get them and something interesting. But, like, say, like, I don't know, on your, like, 14th platinum, for example, if that was, like, an interesting game that you got a platinum on, or you had a reason for why you ended up picking it up that was a bit out there, that could be a nice discussion point to kind of segue into with your video. But, like, oh, but when it was on the 14, it was during this time when this was happening, and on a whim, I tried this. Or something like that, you know? I know that requires you to, like, call upon a lot of, like, old knowledge, but still. But I digress. I think I will wrap it here, because my stomach just started rumbling, so I think that's a sign I need to get some food on. I'm still really enjoying this game and want to see where it goes. And I found the puzzles, I don't think the puzzles are necessarily easier, I think I'm just getting more accustomed to what I'm supposed to be looking for when I get to a puzzle now. Fun fact, I spent 300 to 400 hours on a Idea Factory Compile Heart game called Record of Agrigus War Zero. But then that could be something, yeah, but that's exactly my point. You could talk about, like, this one that ended up taking far longer than you could ever assume. But then you could then talk about why you stuck with it and didn't move on to something else. What made it so special to you to want to do that grind, you know? But I digress. I'm going to wrap it here, because my stomach just went again. So I'm like, alright, I feel like an anime girl, where it's just like, I'm not hungry, you know? Thank you all so much for watching. Tomorrow, we're getting back to Nelke, finally. It's been a hot minute, so I might be a little rusty, but we'll figure it out. But I digress. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. Sorry about the dip in the middle. My internet just decided to have some time to itself again. And remember, and additionally, you can find my Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal in the description of every video if you feel so inclined. Robu the kinky girl. Yeah, I'll go with that. Either way, you'll take care now. Peace.